Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Racko is a classic game in the line of like Yahtzee, Monopoly, Clue, and even Risk. It's been around for a long time, and a lot of people like it, and there's plenty of versions and different ways to play this game. At its core, Racko is a very simple game to teach and a very simple game to learn. You're going to have 10 random cards in random order to set up your little Racko file here. And on every turn, you can take a card from the discard pile, the top of it, or you can take the top card of the draw deck, which is a random card, and exchange it with one of the cards you have. And what you're trying to do is get your 10 cards in ascending order. So 1, 7, 23, 28, 35, and so on. If you're able to complete that, you will score a number of points for this round. Then you reset, and you're playing to a certain number of points. And you can be determined the winner over multiple plays of the game. What is great about this game also is the fact that you have some green cards, at least in our version of it, that give you a little bit of powers, let you take extra turns or move things around, etc. So those may be appealing when they're coming off of your board. Now, you'll be setting cards up and you're hoping that what you're drawing is helping you. Sometimes you can screw things up and can be a little bit of frustration in that. There is a lot of luck in this game, the luck of the draw. It's kind of hard to prepare when you don't know what's coming down the pipe, but you kind of do the best you can. You know, if you got 17 and 18, you want them to be back-to-back. So some obvious decisions that can come forward too. You know, a 3 and a 5, you probably want them fairly close, because the chance of you getting a 4 is probably pretty low. And then the 4 comes up and you're like, darn, I should have anticipated that, but I did not. So you don't want to like back yourself into a corner with this game. This is a pretty good classic game that most people have either played or heard of, or maybe even been a little inquisitive about. My daughter loves this game. She loves playing this with her grandmother. It's their go-to game, and I love and adore playing it with her. We were on a trip, and she really wanted to play this game with me, and I could have played it for hours. More about spending time with her than the game itself. And that's where this game shines, I think. It's a conversational game. It's one of those games that, like, what you're doing isn't too difficult, so you can have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever and just talk to somebody. Be able to go back and forth on the conversation versus, like, I have to be, like, in here and thinking about all of my turn, etc., etc. I think it plays as a conversational game. It's a winner in that regard for me. So Racko is a keeper, probably for the memories I'm building with my daughter with this game and her love for it also. Here's Racko. There's a tons of different variations of this and versions, but this is the one I have by Parker Brothers. Open up, you get a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. This one's just going to give you a deck of cards. They're really just numbers. There's no artwork. There are some words on it. The font could have been a little bit bigger. These are mass market. They're going to bend. They're cheapo, but this is a very inexpensive game. You're going to get these holders. They're little plastic ones. Mine came with enough to play, I think, 4. And they're going to have the numbers, so 50s, 40s, all the way down. And you're going to be putting your cards in numerical order and a cheap box to put it in. The components are really good. This is really needed because you need the cards to be able to stand up, kind of like this when you're playing. You'll be able to see the numbers really easily. So it works pretty good. You can see them when you're playing. So the rules are printed on a piece of paper. It's black and white, tells you the contents and the gameplay, how to play. Opens it up like this, almost like a map, and gives you pictures, etc. as you're going through, and you'll be able to see the points that you'll have for each one, and then how to win with the scoring and other ways to play if you want to play classic Racko or etc. Rulebook is pretty good. You just need probably 2 or 3 minutes to read through this, maybe 5, and then a couple minutes to teach the game. You'll be up and running in no time. So each player's going to get one of these racks, and you'll be able to shuffle the card deck up, and you're going to draw cards and put them right in here. You're not going to be putting them in order. You're just going to be putting the cards in as they're drawn, so the cards will be in the order drawn and not necessarily numerical order. If you put them in numerical order, you will automatically win the game. You will also be cheating, and there you have it. So what's going to happen on a turn, you're going to have cards that will be face down in a discard pile and cards from the top of the deck. You can always draw a card from the top of the deck, or you can draw from the discard pile. You'll take one of these cards, you're trying to think about where you want to put it, you'll swap it, put it in order, and discard the other card. If you happen to discard a green card, it'll have something on here there, take another turn, so you can take another turn when you do so. At the end of the game, if you have these cards in numerical order, So let's say you had 12, then 22, then 33, etc., all the way up through the event. You have Racko, you score 75 points for that, and 5 points for each card in here. The other players will score 5 points for each card. That is in ascending order, and then you can play based on the number you'll be playing to bonus points, etc., or you can play until you get a winning score here based on the number of players. Very easy. You're just trying to get the cards in numerical order, but you can only exchange one card at a time, either from a discard pile or the draw deck. Very simple to play, a very classic game that you're going to have here. No artwork, no big strategy, and it's a pretty good conversational piece. Who should buy this game? This is one of those cheap games you buy on the shelf. It's very inexpensive. There's a lot of versions of it. I don't think one is any superior to the other. Maybe that's not true. But it's just a light game you can play with anybody. It's a good camping trip. You know, you just want to play something down and people want to play it and have a good time without having to worry about like all these boards and rules. Something you can have a conversation over, or doesn't take a lot of stress out of your head in order to play it. In that regard, it would be a winner, and that is Racko.